which stops tinnitus, and in this video we're going to be talking about how to convince your family that it's okay to follow my advice. And this is kind of a trick question because the only person that you need to be convincing to follow your advice is yourself. Okay? Now, let me lay it out like this. The hardest people it's going to be to convince is going to be probably depending on your age. Now, if you're a 30-year-old... Shit. Fuck me. Mexico. If you're a 30-year-old person or a 40-year-old person and you live by yourself and you make your own rules, this isn't going to be that hard. The simple equation is just don't tell your friends and family. Now, you should tell your doctor, of course, but it's not necessary to tell your friends and family everything. And for the most part, they probably won't even care. If you tell I remember when I told my friends, my family cared about me. My parents are greatly supportive. When I told them I had tinnitus, they tried to help me in every single way. They're amazing. My parents are fantastic. But my friends, people, when you try this out, when you're talking in a conversation, it's very, very interesting. I was meeting with someone the other day, and I'd say something like, "Oh yeah, like I'm thinking of traveling to Dallas to do this thing," and then come back and they go, "Oh, I went to Dallas here, it was so good. I also went here, blah blah." And you're like, "Yeah, okay, blah blah." And people will wait for you to stop talking so they can start talking about themselves. Rarely will someone have the conversational skills to ask follow-up questions. And you've got to remember, people always think about themselves unless they, people often report when they have psychedelic drug experiences, or they have a near-death life experience, or they have a child, or they experience a breakup, or they have anything like that happen to them. They get a lot of perspective on life, and they finally see like it's more than just me, it's other people. But most people don't have that, and that's why people are self-absorbed. So if you tell your friends and they kind of don't care if you have tinnitus, or they don't really offer any sort of condolences or strategies to help, that's just the way it goes. But let's get back to convincing your family and your friends that what you're doing is safe. Because if you're, let's say, 20 to 25 in Australia or America, and you're not at university, you're at home working or something like that, and Australia is ridiculously expensive. It's just getting stupid now. There's the price of living has gone up in a stupid way. There's really a shortage of jobs, so there's a good chance you'll be living at home. And so your parents are going to notice that you're fasting, eating well, cutting out coffee. And you have to remember there's one thing that really it's kind of like this sickness that permeates through a parent's mind. And trust me, it does happen. It didn't happen to me at all, but it actually happened to other people. And especially in the Asian culture, I see it a lot because I have a lot of Asian friends, because there's a lot of Asians in Melbourne, and like Japanese, Chinese, Korean, around those countries that come and migrate to Australia and live here because our universities are great, so whatever. And what will happen is the parent will manipulate the child, especially a young boy, to never leave the home. I think it has to do with the parents becoming distant when they're older. It's quite common from what I've seen. And the mum will say, like, you shouldn't leave the home, you're not smart enough, I'll take care of you, it's scary out there. I see with Indian parents too. I have a few Indian friends, because Melbourne is really a melting pot of different cultures. And especially the mothers, but the mothers are really just scared and they're lonely and they don't want to lose their kids. Not everyone, of course, but they'll manipulate the kids. So let me tie that into telling your parents about how you have tinnitus and you're going to, and your friends and your co-workers, and you're going to change your life drastically to try and fix it. They will see it as though you're evolving and that they're losing you. And let me tell you one quick story to really illustrate this point. So I had a friend back in Melbourne, a very close friend, and we were basically the same person. We had the same sense of humour, we liked the same style of girls, we had the same dreams, and we liked the same music. I think I already said that. Basically the same, we always hung out and it was never awkward. We were best friends for years. Now, all of a sudden I got into self-development. This was bloody still in high school. Self-development, and I started to learn about business and health and life and stuff like that, even before I had tinnitus. And basically, I started to succeed more and become more successful in school and make cooler friends, basically, and become more popular. And it really hurt this person, not because I wasn't leaving him at all, I was still hanging out with him just as much, but he wanted the same things in life, and he saw Liam is the same as me, but yet he's succeeding and I'm not. So therefore, his lack of success, he's thinking my lack of success is reflecting upon me and not my external circumstances. So it's my choices that have prevented me from succeeding. Okay? Does that make sense? And you'll find that your friends and your family will be like, why are you doing that? Like, why are you trying to change? Like, and they'll use any excuse in the book, like, oh, the doctor said it was for life. Which, I mean, come on, if you can't see the flaws in the medical industry today, then you need to get your eyes checked, and your brain checked too, to be honest. But they'll use any tool in the book, they'll even try to put you down, whatever's culturally appropriate for whatever country you're from. The more Caucasian will be, I see that girls girls get affected by this a lot more when their families say, what are you fasting for? It's stupid, it's dangerous, don't do it, that's dumb, and they'll talk about it behind their back. Whereas the boys are more, it must have something to do with the fact that girls are more agreeable and boys are more aggressive and independent, and boys have always been in history the explorers, the risk takers, where girls have more sought out social construct and being with other people. That's how they thrive. And if you read the books, there's two really fantastic books by Louann Brizendine, who's a psychologist, and her books are The Female Brain and the Male Brain, and it shows that in both the female and the male brain, I believe it's the nerve or the part of the brain that's designated to deal with social rejection is also crossed and connected with the part of the nerve that activates physical pain, and it's twice as more prevalent in women. So when women get rejected or disapproved or ostracized or insulted by other people in their social circle, family social circle, they feel that it's much more painful. And apparently, if you look at history, like evolutionary biology, there's a great person called Gad Saad who's really good at this stuff. He'll tell you that through research they find that women who were weaker and smaller back in millions of years ago had safety in numbers, so they never wanted to stand out from the crowd. Whereas men, in order for men to succeed, they would have to be strong, independent, risk-taking people, because they would always go off and eventually they would get kicked out of the herd or the group because the other dominant males didn't want them there taking over, so they get kicked out. So they had to be able to deal with that and to be able to, they're always the ones who are, approaching the women and approaching the females, so they would be getting rejected over and over again. So they had a bit of resilience. And as a guy, I know what it feels like to go talk to a girl, have it not go well. It's like, oh, well, that sucks, but it's like, ugh. And then go talk to another girl, ugh. And then talk to another one. It really is a numbers game, but girls are kind of, they don't have to deal with that in that sense, but obviously everyone's life is hard. But the point is that this video is more geared towards the women. So if your husband isn't supporting you, if your children think you're stupid, your friends and family think you're stupid, you're never going to change their mind. So you have two options as I see it. You can either ignore them and tell them to get stuffed, okay, that's totally fine, or you can just not tell them in the first place. Or maybe you're one of the lucky people like me who had a really, really supportive family. My mum and dad have always supported me through whatever I did. It's been fantastic. But you might not have that. My situation is very uncommon. That's from what I've seen with families. So just know that you can't change people. I've never seen it really happen that a person really changes unless they're in a lot of pain. Then they'll change. Okay? For example, your tinnitus. You're probably changing things that you thought you never would. And you never would change these things unless you got sick. And now you wish that you changed before. But there was probably zero chance of you changing before because you thought, I'll never get heart disease or hypertension or fibromyalgia or cancer or glaucoma or back pain, knee pain, arthritis. It's not going to happen to me. Because it really is not that well shown. And nobody thinks they're going to get tinnitus because nobody knows about it. It's not anywhere. Building sites, music studios, and I've been around music studios before, everywhere, it never says warning tinnitus. You'd be like, what's tinnitus? And it's like, oh, it's just ringing in the ears that people kill themselves for. Holy shit, give me some fucking earplugs. You put that straight away, right? But hearing loss, people are like, well, I haven't got it yet, so I'm not going to get it now. But you can have detrimental nerve inflammation that can get provoked and exacerbated by diet and it'll inhibit your brains. Your bad diet can inhibit your brain's ability to heal itself, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so that's the end of this video, but just know that you're not going to change anyone, okay? You're not going to change anyone. So if you're a child, if you're a teenager, obviously speak to your parents, you have to do that. And speak to your doctor as well. Speak to your doctor regardless of your age, gender and situation, because you have to do that. I have to say that, and it makes sense. If you're on antidepressants, don't change your medications without consulting with your doctor. And one last thing. Tinnitus is not for life, okay? I can say it as much as I want. I can preach it, I can show you testimonials, I'm doing the best that I can. But the thing is, you're not going to realise that it's true until you start following my advice, and your tinnitus starts to go down when you wake up one day and you go, holy shit, it actually went down. And then maybe it'll spike the next day and go down and fluctuate and go from ear to ear, turn from a ringing to a hissing, to a buzzing, to a crackling, weird noises you never heard before. But a trajectory, it's like a lightning bolt going up and down until it eventually goes down, okay? Implement what you can. Remember, there's a good enough factor with my advice. You don't even have to apply all of it, and you still get results, okay? Sure, it's going to be slower, but it will still go away. And remember, there's no rush, okay? Still going to be on YouTube, but, you know, you only have so many years to live, so why not apply it now and enjoy the rest of your life without wishing you didn't have tinnitus? So